He's shooting it.
16 points for Jordan. The Bulls with their biggest lead. They're up by 12. We're approaching 1 minute remaining. In the half. Pippen. Rodman gets it back. And here's Jordan. He was met by West, was upset. Felt he was taken down.
He turned around and pointed to Mark West, not happy with the new rules now and flagrant fouls and that, in the old days this would just be a normal play. But here Mark West trying to take the charge, but he leaned in, and by leaning in through that hip into Michael's hip. But I think the Bulls are sensing that the Pistons are trying to get a little bit too aggressive. We saw earlier Allen Houston take a whack, a hard one at Dennis Rodman. And you don't think of Allen Houston as a physical player. In fact, the knock on him early was that he was soft, but he's becoming tougher and tougher. But that's not what's going on in the league right now. People aren't taking those cheap shots as they used to maybe 3-4 years ago.
And now Mark West sitting down.
Quarter for both clubs. Almost 2 minutes gone by here in the fourth. Michael's got Hurley now. Jordan driving baseline.
Traveled. Oh, travel. He traveled. Yep. First to travel. He ran into Smith for a big collision. Couldn't stop. Michael comes down. A good call here. He does take the legs. He couldn't stop. But he gets thrown down too.
Got hammered and got a turnover.
While Chicago was traveling to Utah on this Wednesday, it was no Bull on the home front. Chicago Bulls general manager Jerry Krause, in effect, put the ball in Michael Jordan's court. Knowing Coach Phil Jackson won't return and realizing Jordan has said repeatedly Jackson is the only coach he'll play for, Krause told the Chicago Tribune, quote, "If Michael chooses to leave because there is another coach here, then it is his choice, not ours." Adding, "We would like to have Michael back, but Michael is going to have to play for someone else. It isn't going to be Phil." Our Brian Burwell got this reaction from Michael prior to the Bulls-Jazz game.
There's absolutely no room at all for you coming back under any other circumstances?
None at all, and it's not a knock for them. I mean, I think they choose their direction and I choose my direction with an understanding that, this still is a business and they have to do what they have to do to make things work. And, I have to make things work for myself in terms of what makes me feel comfortable. And, I can't say that makes me feel comfortable playing for another coach at this stage in my career.
And after the game, Michael Jordan stood his ground about retirement.
I won't play. I retire totally. It's that simple. It's totally simple. I won't play nowhere else. I won't follow Phil nowhere. I will totally retire. So that clears every question.
Come back here and watch the Jazz.
And what management is saying, Phil is out, then this is my last year.
That don't make no sense at all. But the motives of management, what can you do? It's a business, and I think it's a sickly idea of why he want to come out and say this all of a sudden now. We don't need that right now. I mean, he's a smart man, but that's not a smart move right there.
Well, Dennis Rodman laying it on the line. Timing is a factor in this whole thing.
Vince, it's amazing that, that this would even become an issue right now. This is a team that still could win its 6th championship. I think that Jerry Krause made a huge mistake putting another thing on the Bulls' mind. But, when it's all said and done, Phil's not coming back. I don't want to see Michael Jordan retire because he doesn't want to play for another coach. I mean, let it be because he's tired of playing the game, his body's breaking down, or he just doesn't want to continue. Not because your coach is not going to be here.
A lot has been said now by Krause and Jordan, and they may have taken their stand.
Well, and Reinsdorf and Michael will sit down at the end of the season and iron this whole thing out.
Well, I should hope so.
Yeah.
Bringing us up to date on the current Chicago climate, Jordan and Bulls management.
The dismantling the Bulls apparently has taken a major turn by you announcing that you'd like to see Phil Jackson be general manager and coach. How much truth is there to that?
I mean, that was my opinion, and my opinion doesn't really matter sometimes whenever, the owners have to make a decision or whatever. So, I mean, just as, Phil said that he can expect me or see me being a player coach. But I can see him being a general manager and an owner of a team or something to that nature. But, it's still not my decision. That's just my opinion in the situation.
Battle lines have not been drawn then?
No. It's not from my standpoint anyway.
Well, with a comment like that, it appears that you would like to come back next year.
I never said I didn't want to come back. Yeah, that was never the question. I love to come back. But, I mean, within my own circumstances.
All right, thanks a lot. And earlier, before the game, we talked to Phil Jackson. Michael Jordan suggested that maybe it'd be a good idea if you became coach and general manager. Is that something that interests you?
I haven't heard that. Well, I heard rumors of that, but I'm sure it's not something worth a comment.
but credit them. They're a great basketball team, and frankly, I would break them up. You know, let's break them up. I go along with Jerry Krause's theory. I think it'd be good for the league.
There are obviously some people who are less untouchable than others. And Elton Brand's an all-star, and somebody'd have to really knock me hard, you know, even to get me to think about Elton Brand. But by the same token, Michael was the only untouchable in history of this franchise, you know, and for a lot of reasons. But Elton is certainly an all-star, and very hard to trade an all-star.
Against Ricky Pierce, a little shot there, pushes him away. Now he gets drilled by Robertson, throws him out of the way. Now he tries to fight and go over and go through the double. You see Anderson moved and put his arm up to set a screen. Nothing really all that bad about Anderson. That's why he's upset. And of course, this was the resulting technical as he went over and had a few words choice, I'm sure, to say to Bill Oakes.
With the numerous highlight shows and extensive media coverage, each one is magnified. The most dramatic this season occurred Saturday night in Chicago. Michael Jordan was driving to the basket when he was grabbed around the neck by Detroit's Rick Mahorn and tossed to the floor. That emptied the benches and triggered a fight between Mahorn and the Bulls' Charles Oakley. Chicago coach Doug Collins also left the bench. When he tried to interfere, Mahorn tossed him over the bench and into the scorer's table.
As a coach, you try to be a peacemaker in those situations, and I was trying to get a hold of Ricky Mahorn. He's so darn big that, you know, I tried to get him from behind just to hold him so that there wouldn't be any more punches or any punches thrown at all. And he reacted and pushed me away, and then I was a little overzealous, and I came back and tried to come after him again to hold him, and he shoved me down again. But you know, I wanted to be a peacemaker and try to keep things square. Obviously, I didn't do a very good job of it. The league ruled that I acted other than I should have, so I'll pay my fine, and hopefully nothing like that will ever happen again. I don't condone those kind of things. I don't want our players to be involved in those things. But the last thing I want to see is one of these great players get injured in any way, because it is their livelihood, and I know how big and strong these guys are, and you know, one punch can end a guy's career.
The NBA has given its reaction. Mahorn was suspended for a game and fined $5,000. Oakley was fined $2,000 for escalating the incident, and Collins $1,500 for acting as other than a peacemaker. In other words, for leaving the bench. The Board of Governors adopted a resolution making it clear that flagrant fouls will not be tolerated. They'll be subject to the most severe penalties. That comes from the NBA's Vice President of Operations, Rod Thorne.
Way back to 1985, Jordan's first All-Star game. As a rookie, when a lot of people thought his Eastern Conference veteran teammates froze him out. Veterans that were led by Isaiah Thomas, who's now his coach on the Eastern squad for Sunday night's game. David Aldridge has more.
In another time, a Cold War began between Michael Jordan and Isaiah Thomas. It lasted the better part of 2 decades, with each man wanting what the other had, championships.
Over the years where, we have competed in competitive environments where there wasn't much love, a lot of hate, we were able to go against each other.
But time has healed most of their animosity. And now, in a twist of fate, Thomas will be Jordan's coach in Jordan's final All-Star game.
We're not competitive anymore. We're not competing with each other. You can admire those similarities and look at them in a different way. But when you were competing with that other person, you tried to take advantage of those similarities.